Ladies and gentlemen, Yahoo Finance, 1 hour ago, FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in Bahamas. CNN, Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX's founder, is arrested in the Bahamas. The Washington Post, 1 minute ago, Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in Bahamas on U.S. request. So, he's been arrested, and the entire public relations monstrosity that has kept him out of prison thus far apparently has collapsed. So he's going to almost certainly see prison time. We're going to get to exactly why Sam Bankman-Fried claims he misaccounted $8 billion in FTX funds. So he'll serve prison time. Whether he serves the full amount of prison time because he was the second largest Democratic donor and his FTX officials, or the FTX officials, including SBF, gave $70 million to Democrats, $30 to $40 million. I believe Sam Bankman-Fried gave $40 million to Democrats this year. Okay, so that's how they kept the Senate, and they still lost the House. But you had very, very, very tight contests, and Adam Laxalt barely lost in Nevada, and you had Herschel Walker barely losing, and that's with FTX money. And that's with that's with a huge disparity in fundraising. So, but here you have, he'll serve prison time without a doubt. Was FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried behind the world's greatest Ponzi scheme? The Street, the FTX collapse has had a catastrophic effect on crypto in general. Could this have been the biggest Ponzi scheme in history? Okay? And you have a situation where Fortune magazine, former FTX users say the failed crypto exchange was a Ponzi scheme. Here's how those work and what we know about how Sam Bankman-Fried operated. So there was, he had another company that was working alongside FTX, Alameda Research, and I believe he was getting, he was creating these fictitious loans utilizing Alameda Research. And that's how he was able to fund all the margin accounts. So a lot of this, FTX was an exchange where you had options and derivatives within the crypto world. So derivatives that are somewhat regulated are already risky. By the way, hit subscribe to this channel. I will have I was going to have a live stream on the Twitter Files 5.0, but this is absolutely huge. I had to give you this news. So we will have a live stream on this at around 8:30 p.m. Pacific. So be here at 8:30 p.m. Pacific. Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested. Let me read you. We all know exactly the fact that this was a Ponzi scheme and how he was basically printing money, utilizing crypto and a whole lot of very shady, corrupt tactics to fund Democrats and himself. So $16 billion he lost within the span of, a day or week of his own money. And FTX was $32 billion lost. Then you had like a pension fund in Canada that was lost, a teacher's fund, but you have a whole lot of, we don't know yet all the pension funds and all the investors that lost millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, possibly a billion in some cases. I don't really, it's interesting how we haven't heard, see, if this was not a Democratic donor, we would have seen the entire Bernie Madoff, like the consequences of this man's actions. Media would have reported. But here, FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in Bahamas. Bahamian authorities arrested former FTX founder and CEO Sam Bankman-Fried Monday. The development comes the day before Bankman-Fried had agreed to testify before the U.S. House Financial Services Committee regarding the collapse of his Nassau-based exchange. According to a statement shared by the Bahamian Office of the Attorney General of Ministry and Legal Affairs, the Royal Bahamas Police detained Bankman-Fried following receipt of formal notification through the United States it has filed criminal charges against the fallen crypto billionaire. So he has been indicted. The Attorney General said it will hold Bankman-Fried in custody pursuant with Bahamas extradition treaty. He's arrested, indicted, and on his way to extradition. The U.S. government extradition treaty with Bahamas lets the U.S. extradite defendants for charges involving offenses that are crimes in both countries. So, based on a sealed indictment by the Southern District of New York. This is interesting, too, because you know that here's the interesting, political angle here. You know that he's the second largest donor of the Democratic Party. You know that they desperately tried to prop him up. The New York Times wrote just the most nauseating propaganda piece trying to protect him, oh, are you sleeping okay? And this is a man who lost people an untold amount of money deliberately, he knew what he was doing. This is not a situation where a company just fails. This is a situation where you are engaged in financial crimes, and you're doing so and giving money to the Democratic Party, and then you get favorable media coverage after everything collapses. And then Garland and Biden's DOJ has a choice. You can either not indict this man and then have House Republicans obsess over the criminality with investigations, and then investigate, and he serves a much longer prison time, but also we find out a lot more of the corrupt financial labyrinth that leads to Democrats and other donors and that financial fundraising monstrosity they have. Okay, there's a reason that they got so much money from this man, and there's a reason that they were able to take so much money and benefit. So politically, they have to indict. They have no choice. What choice does Merrick Garland or Biden have? They have no choice. He's the second largest Democratic donor. Could you imagine if FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried misaccounted, had an accounting error of $8 billion, and it was linked, it was Trump's second largest donor or the Republican's second largest donor? Could you imagine that? And so this is really, really interesting. He's been arrested, indicted, and he's going to be extradited. So what do they do now? How do they replace $70 million? Probably won't be that difficult. Well, it could be now. They don't have Twitter. So, the pendulum, look, between the Twitter files and Sam Bankman-Fried, the fact that they lost the House, they're actually on the ropes. They're actually not doing as well as people think. The pendulum is slowly swinging towards Trump or DeSantis. I know that annoys some people when I say DeSantis. It would have annoyed me also a couple weeks back. But I think the political landscape, Trump can capitalize on this if he chooses to. If he chooses to be strategic, there's no stopping Trump. But he has to capitalize on this. He can't say something like, oh, the Constitution or whatever. He has to capitalize. The most corruption, obviously, is within the Democratic Party. They pretend that Trump is corrupt. They can't find anything. Here you have Democrats or Democratic donors committing financial crimes on the scale of Bernie Madoff. So, yeah, Trump is there's no criminal activity linked to Trump. There is to Hunter. There is to Hillary with private servers. Even James Comey said that, but no reasonable prosecutor would indict. There's now FTX. We see what's happening with the silencing and suppressing and the breaking of First Amendment laws. You have the Democratic Party, the true, if you look at the true authoritarians here, the totalitarians, who is silencing people utilizing government influence, okay, or at the behest of government or alongside government. You had Twitter officials working with government agencies weekly before January, long before January. You have FTX now, the founder, indicted, charged, arrested, indicted, and now being extradited. You have Hunter with the graft and bribery is through the roof. You have Clinton with private servers. It's nothing. This is like the Mount Everest of corruption, and you have Trump. And so what? The Steele dossier? Someone went to the bathroom on him. That was a lie. That was completely fabricated. What do they have on Trump? Because he wasn't. indicted for anything in a court of law. Hunter, Hillary, this guy, SBF, they all could have been or have been. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Be here tonight for the live stream. This is huge news at 8:30 p.m. Pacific. Thank you.